Alright, welcome back to our home series where we discuss more about property, and this time around we're talking about something much more exciting because this time I finally came back in Singapore to do my BTO Keys collection, which a lot of you have been waiting. So I know a lot of you are like me, are waiting to collect your keys, and some of you are very excited. But somehow after this long years of waiting for your flat to be completed, you all may have forgotten some administrative things and what you need to do because it's everyone's first time. So this time around I have JJ back with me again. Okay, so he's a licensed realtor, which I'll leave his links below that you can look for him for property-related queries. So JJ, I think the topic of discussion today, I think we want to refresh our audience. What do we need to prepare before you even go for key collection, right? Maybe I share a bit of my story first. Okay, so I think what we read online is very clear-cut. We need to prepare either the cash or the CPF in our funds. Make sure we are ready for the second down payment because we paid quite a sum of money over the years. I mean, the first down payment, then the second one, maybe there is a little bit more fees. But I think there are some more things that we really need to prepare, like for key collection. Let's just go through some of these more obvious stuff first. Right?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to note is you have to ensure that you know when your key collection appointment is, right? Because usually it's a weekday. So most of us, we work lah. So you have to ensure that you take leave to go down for your key collection appointment and ensure that you have all the documents in order. Usually HDB will send you an email to let you know what you need to prepare, right? Did you receive the email?
Yes, we did. And in fact, some of you may feel that, why is HDB not sending me this letter? Actually, it comes all at the same time, email, letter, SMS. But sometimes I heard from my neighbors that they log into HDB site to check and then, it's reflected before the SMS was even sent. So it happens lah.
Correct. So if you are kanchong, every day you just log in, then you just see lah. But no need to kanchong one because HDB will send you definitely way before or at least a few weeks before your key collection appointment lah.
Alright, so another thing that you really need to prepare before the appointment is the fire insurance. Not to be really confused with the home insurance. So what essentially is fire insurance is that it's a compulsory type of insurance that you have to sign up with the HDB appointed insurer, and this time around is Etiqa, and then it will insure your home for 5 years with a very small premium. Okay, that is something you have to do to apply for before you even head to the key collection date. And then one more thing, what I've done is that I've hired Defects Checker, and I think it is getting more and more popular. You have seen these videos on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, and even Lemonade, right? All these people checking and pasting stickers all around. That is something optional that you can consider, which I believe is getting more and more popular because people don't really have time to or the expertise to do it, which we'll cover further in this topic. I know that JJ, based on what you have shared with me, you have not hired a defects checker.
Correct. So one of the biggest regrets, I collected my keys about 2 years ago, and one of the biggest regrets is I never hired a defect checker. So not that there's any issues with the flat right now, it's just that I did it myself because I thought like, okay, how difficult can it be, right? So when we saw your defects checker check your house, they very fast, right? Within 1 hour, they finished already. But I took like 5 to 6 hours the whole day there, slowly pasting the stickers and things like that, which in hindsight is a freaking head waste of time. I should have just paid a couple $100 to the defect checker and done it lah. So I think over the years, as we mature, we grow older, I think I really see the value of paying for a professional who has the eye for certain things.
Yeah, we'll go into more detail in a video later about that lah. Okay, and then one more thing is your SP Utilities account. Once you receive your appointment letter, you should go and open the SP Utilities account because it takes like 1 week to activate online. Yeah, so some of you have heard from your friends that maybe after key collection, you all head up to the SP Utility office and settle the SP account. And then last time is you still have to go to the fire insurance on the same day. Now a bit different. Now you can do it beforehand. Everything online. Yeah, you can less hassle, less administrative work during the key collection because there is just so much anxiety going on.
Yeah. Did you download the SP app to sign up, or did you do it via the web service?
I did it during the web. Yeah, and one more thing is that once your SP Utilities account is activated, right, you have to start paying for bills already. You know? Okay, so like me, right, I was so excited, right? Once I know my neighbors are collecting keys, I already activated the account, but never did I knew that my keys came much later. So I started paying for refuse charges, even though I'm not even living in the estate. So don't need too early also.
Yeah, about 1 or 2 weeks before lah. And if you are on the go, right, you can actually download the SP app And the sign up process is super easy because the app is a little bit more minimalist, a bit simpler. Yeah, so actually you can do that if you want to.
On top of it, there is also like if you want to switch your electricity provider, you can also do so after having the SP Utilities account, which I think a lot of people have already done it. You are more familiar with this kind of thing already. Don't need to rely on just SP Utilities.
Yeah, in fact, SP's rates are usually the more expensive ones, right? Yeah.
And there's no loss to switch, but I think this one is the topic for another day.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's for key collection really. I think let's go to the actual day. During the key collection, what would you should prepare yourself for? I think most importantly, you need to know your time, right? Because you don't want to be late for the appointment and then you miss everything and then everything gets very messy.
And we always remember to bring your IC. And if you are unable to make it for the appointment yourself for some reason, then you have to appoint someone to go on your behalf. You have to make sure the documents to give them the permission to do it is like properly signed. If not, HDB will not let any random guy that you say is your father or whoever come and collect the keys on your behalf. Yeah, that's important to know.
Correct. So in a case where these persons who are involved in the signature, they are not able to attend, right? You have the opportunity to change the appointment before the appointment date. And do you even know that you can change your appointment date earlier? You can move it earlier because I tried it, but I didn't do it. Okay, so for example, you're collecting keys on the 31st of August, right? You could actually move it a few days earlier if you have the slots. Once you got the notification, go and log in and then try to change your appointment if you really want to collect keys as fast as you can.
Okay, so on this topic, right, I have a little bit of experience on it also. So in my entire estate, right, I am the first person to collect keys because during that time, right, I was transitioning from so when I got married, everything was at one shot within the same week. ROM, the wedding banquet, move in, all same week. So I was like going through a very tight time crunch because I needed my renovation to be done like super fast. So I wrote into HDB and I explained to them the situation that like if I don't collect the keys, right, then it will be a very tough situation because I will basically be half homeless. Like all my stuff don't know where to go, all my fridge, the guy really calling me. Yeah, so I wrote into HDB and HDB actually was very kind. The HDB officer in charge at that time was very kind and he told us he will shift our appointment up to be the first one. So we actually got quite lucky. So if you have any situation that you really need the keys a bit earlier, you can write into HDB, explain to them the situation, and they will help you with it, help you through the journey.
Yeah, I must say that HDB is really very helpful. They are really there to serve the people. So whatever request that you have, just write into your officer and see how they can help you. How many of you are already using Webull for investing and trading in US stocks or ETFs? And I am one of them because of these features. Number one, low commissions. Webull offers ultra low commissions charging from just 50 US cents per order. With zero platform fees during regular and extended hours, you will enjoy some of the lowest costs in the market. Number two, no foreign exchange fees. When it comes to currency exchange, Webull does not hit you with extra fees. The rates you see on the app are the rates that you will get. No surprises. Number 3, regular savings plan. Make dollar cost averaging a breeze. Invest in your favorite US stocks and ETFs with as little as $5. You can also invest in mutual funds through RSP. Schedule your investments weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even daily. It's all up to you. So if you are new to Webull, you can get started with this welcome promo rewards. Fund a minimum of $2,000 by 27 September. Complete 3 US buy trades within 30 days from the first deposit and maintain until 31st October 2024. And you can get $60 of cash vouchers. If you fund a minimum of $10,000 by 27 September, complete 5 US buy trades within 30 days from the first deposit and maintain until 30th November 2024, you can get $400 of cash vouchers. And if you fund over $100,000, you can get 1.84% per annum USD Money Bull interest booster for 90 days. And this reward could elevate your USD Money Bull interest to up to 7%. There is an options trading promo for both new and existing users, where if you trade a minimum of 100 US options contracts monthly, the fees will be reimbursed when you fulfill the criteria. Also, Webull does not charge platform fees. Start trading with Webull by using my exclusive link or scan the QR code right here to get your Webull account today. And then one more thing that I also have to talk about is really on the home protection scheme. Okay, because sometimes you all don't even know that this thing exists. You all just sign the forms, don't understand what is all this. So home protection scheme is kind of like a insurance. Should one of these parties pass away, then HDB will pay a portion out of it lah. But sometimes it's also my first time, so I think I let JJ explain the home protection scheme better.
Right. Okay. So HPS or home protection scheme is compulsory if you are using CPF to pay your mortgage. So if you are a full cash kind of a buyer, or if you are not using CPF to pay for your house at all, HPS is actually optional. But my recommendation is go for HPS. So how HPS works is that you can choose the percentage in which you want to be covered, and it is individual. So for example, if say like me and my spouse, we buy a house together, both our name inside, we can choose to be covered 50%, 50% or 100%, 100%. So what this means is that, say for example, I pass away and I'm covered 100%, then my house will essentially be fully paid for, and my wife or my spouse gets to enjoy the house without any further payments. And HPS is actually quite affordable considering the amount that you get covered for it. So my personal recommendation is that definitely go for HPS. But for most of us who use CPF to finance our house, actually we have no choice.
No choice. But I've read some articles online where some people opt out of HPS because they felt that they could cover it with a term life insurance, which has a much higher coverage, and also it's not like HPS, because HPS is a thing where your mortgage actually gets lower over the years, but your premium stays the same. So there is some online debate about this lah, where if you have your own term life insurance that could cover your full mortgage successfully, then maybe you could opt out of the HPS, assuming you did not use your CPF.
I think this boils down to personal preference.
Definitely.
Yeah. There are people, like for example, I'm actually not using my CPF to pay for my house at all. For my situation, I'm using full cash to pay my monthly mortgage. So actually, I opted in for HPS even though I didn't need to.
Yeah, so varying opinions, just do what is best for yourself lah. Okay, one more thing is on the town council fees, because it's your first time paying town council fees.
Yeah.
Okay, make no mistake, I talk a lot about credit cards, but town council fee, really unable to use credit card for your first time payment. Maybe subsequently we will explore that option in a further video. But yeah, so you have to prepare your NETS card and slot in the machine very old school way. That's the only way to pay for your first town council fees. And I think three room the town council fees around 40 plus. Yeah. Then 4 room is around 60 plus, 70 plus. Then 5 room is probably $10 or $20 higher. And one more thing is that there is this HDB appointment letter. Make sure you read it, because all the financials and calculations are there. And I cannot stress how important is this, because you need to know how much you are paying on the day itself, and you have to plan your finances, especially you are dealing with CPF. And some of you who are CPF optimizers like me, and then your CPF-OA is like to the minimum one, 20,000, because you can invest. Then you come to this second appointment, you want to pay for your second down payment, then you realize the officer told you not enough CPF, then how? You stuck there.
Correct. Yeah, so actually what Chris is talking about, this thing to check, is known as the payment plan. So I'm not too sure if people know about this, but if you want to change your payment plan in terms of, I only want to use this amount of CPF, I want to pay with cash, or like the percentage mix of how you want to pay, you can actually let HDB know in advance, and they can update the payment plan for you, assuming that it is still within the eligibility and everything. So that's like what Chris mentioned, very, very important. And one thing to note is that a lot of people screw this up. It's very important. If you are paying anything by cash or nets, right, double, triple check your nets limit is more than what you are supposed to pay, because the nets limit takes a while to update. So if your card, because most of us don't use nets these days, and if the transaction fail, right, then you're going to hold up the entire line and people are going to be upset. So try to do that before you go.
Yeah. Because you see, I optimize my CPF in such a way that I know I sure have enough one. When I told the HDB officer yesterday that just keep the max of my CPF, I think she misunderstood that I want to retain 20,000. Then she just told me outright, not enough. Then I like stunned. You sure I not enough CPF? Right? Okay, yeah. So that's I think you have to be very clear on your communication. The officer probably don't know what you want. Just tell him or her how much you want to keep in your CPF and how much you want to pay. Okay, don't assume that the officer understand your financial calculations. And make sure your numbers are clearly stated before you even go for the appointment. Make sure you and your partner, whoever is involved, comfortable with the payment and all that. So after all these things, you collected your keys already, very happy. Then the next step is to visit your flat lah. Most people tend to do it on the day they collect their keys, but some people prefer to do it 1 or 2 days later for various reasons. For myself, I just went on the day itself, bought my pineapple, roll the pineapple, do the traditions and stuff. Everyone is doing it. But then I heard of some people say you should only roll when you fully renovated. So different strokes for different folks, depending on your culture and ideals. I've seen some people like even prepare a lot of ritual stuff, throw rice, throw green bean, all this.
I never
Okay. all this your own preference. Then I think the most important thing after key collection, the first time you're looking at your house, right? It will be a very surreal feeling. It may be the first time that you are viewing your own property and realize that this is just only the beginning, because there's so much more to do after this, right? Collecting keys is only the start. So what I did was that I hired some contractors to come to my house and do all the measurements. But the most important thing, I guess, coming back to our main topic, which was the defects check, right? I think I very early in the game, I knew I wanted a defects checker, because I may not have the expertise I may have the time, I may set up some time from my work, but I just don't want I just want someone who is better than me in doing all these things. It's like finding an expert to do it for you. And you see, they do it in such a way is efficient. Like JJ said, he spent like 5 to 6 hours pasting all the stickers. This guy just come in and within one hour plus, and then they came in like team of 5 or 6. It's quite overwhelming, but these guys really know their job. And they are so meticulous and detailed that I don't even know those kind of problems exist.
It's scary. It's like scary. It's like I was there with Chris, then they were doing defect check and they were like, then here got cracked. And it's like, where got? Really like, but really have, like, it's very, very minor, but they still, okay, like you pay them, so they do their job.
I think one of the most common defects that you should look out for, especially is the floor. Is there any uneven flooring, especially in the toilets, the wet areas, toilets and bathroom, because flooding and ponding matters. Secondly are the windows, because all these things, they are built by HDB and they can only be replaced by HDB.
I think anything that is got to do with the structural or like waterproofing will be the number one most important thing to check. Because certain other things like the socket never aligned properly, it's like won't really affect too much one.
And some of you really like to hack away your walls, so the painting probably will matter.
That's true.
Okay, so it also depends on how much you're renovating your home. If you're doing a complete makeover kind of thing, let your defects checker know as well, because they'll probably ask you also, because they won't want to waste time looking at all these things that you're going to hack away and replace. So that's some tips for you.
I actually made a video together with Chris to go through the defects checks process. So you can actually find the video on my channel that I am Falling Feathers, and check out Chris's defect check process.
And I'll post the video link on the description below, so you will not miss it. Once again, I think this is a very good summary of what you should do before you collect your keys, and then prepare for everything, especially for the financial as well as the defects checking. Okay, I know most of you already forget, so this is just a quick reminder. And also, if you want to look for JJ for any property queries, you want to buy, sell, rent property, just look for him. He's the guy.
One thing that you mentioned just now that I think is more important than most people think is the emotional aspect. Because it's your first time collecting keys, right? Like for us, we experienced it. You can be quite kanchong. So when you go down to the appointment, right, try to be as calm as possible and try to understand everything the HDB officer is telling you, because it can be quite overwhelming. It's a bit information overload. So everything that the HDB officer say, if possible, you try to make a note, because the note can come in very, very useful later on when you forget what's going on.
Especially on the financials. I need to stress again, because my channel talks about money and planning and all this. The numbers is always the most important, especially when you and your spouse are financing the property. Then you all may have different plan on how you all should pay for the property. And of course, if you want to look forward to our home videos, especially now that I'm back, I'm going to start a renovation series, and I'm going to talk more about property, either with JJ or other guests. So stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll look forward to the next property video.